Things like you have to do what courts say when they tell you to do stuff. Things like you can't just fill the whole government with your loyalists if the rules say you can't do that. Doing those anti-democratic things, I think, is an abrogation of the rules, but it's not clear, actually, what the remedy is when the two versions of democracy are in conflict with each other.
At least in the first 100 days, Trump is historically highly unpopular currently. And yet, similar behavior that we've seen in the Orban regime in Hungary is met with a different kind of popularity. Why do you think it's worked well for him there?
Well, because he's a really good politician. And he's actually, in many ways, very responsive to what people want. He's always running polls. He's always running these kind of informal plebiscites. We kind of have this view of if you're a non-democratic leader, you just don't give it about public opinion and you don't take it into account. But in the 21st century, at least, a lot of these leaders are very tapped into public opinion. This is actually another problem with democracy that is sometimes called the tyranny of the majority, right? In the Jim Crow South, southern states were anti-democratic terror regimes that were run by white supremacists that were democratically popular if you only counted white people. Often, if you give people enough of what they want, either materially or spiritually or in terms of a kind of patriotic narrative, they'll overlook a lot of things. This is true of Trump also. If you give people something to believe in, like MAGA, and you give them a certain benefit of some kind, and then you say as an implicit part of the deal, I'm also going to do a little cronyism on the side and let Jared Kushner go do some real estate deals. That can kind of work as a tacit democratic bargain.
Coming up, more of my interview with Andrew Marantz, in which he describes the hollowed out media in Hungary as if every TV channel was Fox News. This is On the Media. This week on the New Yorker Radio Hour, Adam Gopnik explains why Donald Trump is so obsessed with the arts.
I think that there's this enormous sense, certainly around the people who he surrounds himself with, that they have been wounded by American culture in some profound way.
Adam Gopnik joins me on the New Yorker Radio Hour from WNYC Studios. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. This is On the Media. I'm Michael Owinger. You're listening to a show we originally aired in June, in which I sat down for an extended conversation with the New Yorker's Andrew Marantz. When it comes to the media, what Andrew learned when he was examining Hungary's diminishing democracy is that the press doesn't keel over and die on a given day, it's extinguished slowly. Andrew spoke to Gabor Miklósi, a veteran investigative journalist who witnessed the gradual death of the Hungarian media firsthand.
So he worked at Index, which was one of the top news sites in the country, independent, kind of paper of record. And it was bought by a company that I think was controlled by a kind of Orban loyalist. Ownership changed hands, and he was worried about editorial interference. But then at first, the editorial interference didn't really show up. Or he thought maybe it showed up, like there was a headline that got changed at the last minute, no one would really tell him why. But there was no real bright line for a long, long, long time. And then eventually, when the bright lines piled up, he left. The way it was kind of described to me was like if Fox News was basically every TV channel, and the New York Post was like every newspaper. And he now works at Partizan, which is really kind of the most important independent media outlet in the country. It's mostly a YouTube channel. And I spent some time at the studios of Partizan. And again, there's all this ambiguity, right? It's sort of like the CEU thing. People would tell me, oh, the Hungarian media is cooked. It's done for. And then I show up in Budapest, and Partizan is this really popular YouTube channel. It's operating openly. The government knows about it. Everyone knows about it. I thought, oh, this is some dissident, scrappy media enterprise. I'll have to go in secret to some person who can connect me over Signal to someone who's in exile in, Portugal somewhere. But no, the head of Partizan, the founder of it, Martin Gulyás, just met me in the parking lot and said, hey, welcome to Partizan. And then we walked upstairs into the control room and I watched them